They silenced the witnesses, burned the bodies, but one man's truth refused to die. Joe Travis, enslaved, fighter. The only man who walked out of the Alamo alive, and the one person Santa Anna tried to erase from history. For 187 years, his account was buried. Now the suppressed testimony explodes back to life, exposing Santa Anna's lies, the Alamo's darkest secrets, and the blood-stained cost of freedom. This isn't the legend you were taught. This is the story they never wanted you to hear. But before we continue, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to support our growing community. History recalls the Alamo as bravery's emblem, yet the sole survivor, slumped on the inner slope, fought to stand, his life seeping into the soil. Twice they charged, twice they fell. The enemy's blades struck, silent, swift, and pitiless. I lay abed in the colonel's quarters when the cannon roared. Travis sprang up, musket ready, sword a-glitter, snarling for me to follow. I grabbed my gun, chased his frantic dash. He scaled the ramparts, voice ragged as he rallied his men, ragged voice, "Stand fast, boys, hell's upon us!" Ladders rose, twice hurled back by desperate hands, though I saw little. Sentinels slept, save one whose scream split the night. We'd toiled till dawn, limbs leaden, moments before the storm. 3 guards beyond the walls dozed, doomed. No alarm came. The Mexicans poured in, unstoppable, flooding the yard like a black tide. What came next was carnage, pure and raw. Travis reeled, hit hard, slumped on the slope, stabbing a general as he bled out. Bowie lay carved like Sunday meat. Crockett dragged 24 souls to hell. They doused corpses in oil, laughed as they burned. The bayonets graze, the stench of charred flesh, Santa Anna's vow to march north. This isn't the polished legend schools teach. This is blood, smoke, and silenced truth. For 187 years, one account was buried, not by time, by design. Joe, Travis's enslaved man, didn't just see the massacre, he lived it. When his master fell, he hid, firing through cracks as walls fell. The victors called it a slaughterhouse. Tonight, the hidden story breaks. The dead don't lie, neither will I. Like, subscribe. The censored tale goes viral. What truly happened when the last Texan fell? Why did they try to erase Joe? Men fought savagely, rifle butts shattering skulls, knives splitting guts, pistols roaring point blank. Davy Crockett and a few of his men were found piled together, ringed by a dozen Mexican corpses, proof of their last stand. The lieutenant's widow, Mrs. Dickinson, and her babe were spared, though whispers followed. Those still alive, I stepped forward shaking. "Here's one," I called. 2 soldiers lunged, one fired, the ball tearing into my side. The other stabbed with his bayonet, steel scraping my ribs. I thought myself dead until Captain Berrigan intervened, snarling at them to halt. The killing done, officers picked through the carnage, shouting for any Negroes to reveal themselves. Most of us, myself included, were spared. The women, some surgeon's wife, her sister, a Navarro girl, were sent back to their father in Bazar under guard. Travis, slumped on the bloodied slope, still gripped his sword when General Morales passed. Wounded, he blocked a killing stroke, then drove his own blade deep into the general's gut. Both men fell, locked in death, his last act of defiance. Bowie's end was worse. They say he fired his pistol through his sick room door until the end. When found, his body was hacked beyond knowing. Santa Anna, striding among the dead, harangued his men in a voice like sharpened steel. The Mexican officers cheered, their roars thick in the dawn air. Later, under a tattered truce flag, the spared were marched into Texas. Only one woman died. A stray shot cut her down as she fled between cannons. The lean officer who spared me wore no finery, just a plain wool coat, no medals, no pride, just another man in the slaughter. Like one of them Methodist preachers, I told the Mexicans, when they pressed me to describe him. Santa Anna drew himself tall, plain in his wool coat, no medals, no finery, yet his presence crackled like a live wire. They doused the bodies with oil and set them ablaze. The smoke coiled black against the sky, carrying a stench that clung to my clothes for days. Some soldiers laughed as they tossed splintered timber onto the pyres. Others crossed themselves and turned away. Joe Travis's testimony survived, but the questions burned hotter than Santa Anna's fires. Why spare me, only to nearly kill me moments later? 2 soldiers lunged, one's musket ball biting my ribs, the other's bayonet grazing my side, before Captain Berrigan intervened. Why erase Travis's final act of defiance? My master, slumped against the inner slope, parried General Mora's killing stroke and ran him through before both collapsed, locked in death. Yet Mexican reports reduced Travis to just another corpse. Why inflate their numbers? A sneering captain claimed 8,000 troops mustered for their grand review. But any man who'd trod that ground knew better. The field, gullied and choked with scrub oak, couldn't hold half that count. Santa Anna questioned me in a dim room reeking of gunpowder and sweat. "Will they send more Yankees?" he snapped, pacing like a caged wolf. When I stammered ignorance, his smirk turned icy. "No matter, I've men enough to plant my flag in your Washington city." Later, through a slit in the wall, I watched their banners flap like vulture wings over rows of infantry stretched thin across the plain. They dragged me to Bexar, held me for days. Once, they marched me out to gawk at their army spectacle, a hollow display for a hollow victory. The dead don't lie. Crockett and his men were found in a heap, 24 Mexican corpses around them. Bowie, butchered in his sickbed, Travis's bones reproaching a neglectful Texas. Who's really buried in the Alamo's shadow? This isn't the end. It's the first confession, and somewhere, the truth still hides. The victors wrote the legend, but the ashes whisper otherwise. They burned Travis's body, but not his defiance. They silenced Joe's voice, but not his truth. Santa Anna lied about his strength, erased Travis's last act, nearly killed the one witness who could expose it all. Why? Because the Alamo wasn't a glorious last stand. It was a massacre they disguised as victory. That bayonet cut Joe's side, but the real wound, knowing Santa Anna spared him only to demand his execution hours later. They hid this account for 187 years, but tonight you decide. Is this the end of the lie, or just the beginning? The dead don't speak, but the enslaved man they couldn't silence? His words just rewrote history.